Global housing market thunderstorm bubble burst. Welcome to Wealth Accumulation Channel. This is Wealth Accumulation Channel. Asia now has housing market thunderstorms in 3 countries. Will the next one be with the Asian economy? Inseparable Australia. South Korea 7 months ahead of US rate hike. A year earlier than the European rate hike. The South Korean real estate market is now experiencing a series of thunderstorms. A large number of landlords went bankrupt and committed suicide. Tenants are saddled with huge debts. Both transaction volume and house prices plummeted. What's wrong with Korea? Financial fraud of many leading real estate companies in Vietnam, resulting in 1,200 unfinished projects. Create consecutive years of economic growth. 5% to 8% miraculous. The world's emerging factory Vietnam. What happened? China's economy, real estate market, and stock market all fall. Leading real estate company Evergrande Country Garden. Debt default. Leading to a plunge in new housing starts. After the epidemic, the Chinese economy rebounded. Do these indicate Australia could also be in for a housing crisis? Will Australia's economy, dragged down by China, into a recession? Finished watching this video, you will get answers to all questions. Wealth Accumulation Channel. Share Australian real estate investment knowledge every week. Case policies and market movements. Help your real estate investment win in Australia. Welcome to like and subscribe. Open the little bell. Select all, so that you can receive new notification on video. South Korea's real estate market falls for 13 consecutive months. Recently, the whole of South Korea and the real estate market in Vietnam. It can be said that it is getting more and more scary. From South Korean house price crash. After 13 consecutive months of decline, Vietnam also collapsed. More than 1,200 programs nationwide. Suspension of construction is facing unfinished business. South Korea's past wealth creation myth instantly turned into a cemetery for speculators. South Korea's housing prices have soared for 20 years. 15% annual growth. I was thinking about it before the crash. If you don't buy today, it will rise tomorrow. Now I want to not buy today. It can be even cheaper tomorrow. 2020 to 21 years South Korean housing prices. The biggest increase is more than 40%. Seoul is even better. More than 50%. Housing prices once reached as high as $30,000 per square meter. With the world's #1 fragrance, Hong Kong can compete for the championship. But dreams will always be broken one day. Everything changes from 2022. This year. In response to the Fed raising interest rates, capital outflows and domestic inflation, Bank of Korea begins pace of rate hikes. Loan interest rate increase. Increased burden on home buyers. What follows is the real estate market starts to crash. Actual transaction prices in Seoul as of recent plunged 25%. Some communities fell by 30% to 40%. The decline is the largest in history. Trading volume also plummeted by more than 70%. May this year. According to Korea Real Estate Information Service Company, Econ 10,000 Lab Statistics. First-time home buyers in the first quarter of this year, including apartments, townhouses, commercial buildings. The number of people reached 68,000. Created since 2010. Lowest value in the first quarter. By contrast, Q1 2021. Number of first home buyers have reached a staggering 148,000 people. Set an all-time record. Korean real estate market. Is it safe to land? Still unknown. Where is the problem? 20 years of continuous growth. Why did it suddenly fall to the ground? The problem is in Korea. Full rental system. Fully rented house is a kind of Korean unique rental model. Simply put, the tenant handed over to the landlord a deposit. About 60 to 70% of the house price. You can live in the house for free for 2 years. No rent. A security deposit is not a rent nor a fee. After the 2-year lease ends, will be returned to the tenant intact. Within 2 years the landlord can use the money freely. That is to say, the tenant is almost live in a house for 2 years. What about this mode? Looks like a good deal. It is the mainstream mode of renting a house in Korea. More than half of the houses rent this way. Full rental model. Actually, the landlord put the house as collateral. Loans to tenants. The interest is the right to use the property for 2 years. Then the landlord, who got the huge deposit, need to invest to make a profit. What business seems to be doing well? Make a profit. Mentioned above. Korean real estate has been maintained for 20 consecutive years. 15% growth rate. So, the landlord uses the security deposit. Buy another property. For example, under the name of the landlord. There is a set of 1 million real estate. Rent out in the form of a full lease. Then you can get. The tenant's security deposit is 600,000. How about using this money as a down payment? The down payment for buying a house in South Korea is 20%. Go to buy 3 sets of 1 million houses. A down payment of 200,000 per set. The rest of the money with the bank loan. Rent a suite like this. You can buy 3 more suites. What about the 3 suites? You can buy another 9 suites by renting out. Go all the way down like this. Descendants without end. The bank really cooperates. Give the green light all the way to real estate loans. Rush hour. In the hands of some Korean owners. Hoard hundreds of sets. Thousands of houses. Someone may ask. Where is the tenant going? How about hundreds of thousands of deposits? You guessed it, the bank again. Full rental in Korea is very common rental model. Banks have specialized loan products. For this situation, loan interest is very low. It's cheaper than rent. So, this loan is also disguised. Encourage the all-renting trend. Real estate speculation with the landlord. It all looks good. Everyone is making money. It's just this bloody pattern. Built on several foundations. First, house prices must keep rising. Korean housing prices have risen for 20 years. People have long been accustomed to think that prices are sure to keep going up. Seoul rises faster. So the landlord buys a house in geometric order. I have no burden in my heart. Anyway, my funds are all. Tenant security deposit. Bank loan. There is also the part of house appreciation. It's sure to make money. Are factors at the landlord's end. And on the tenant side. Full rental loan interest. Must be less than the rent. Only this game can be played. Former landlord-tenant bank. All three are making money. The entire real estate industry is booming. Just the ground floor of this kind of building. Cracks start to appear slowly. From 2021 in response to the Fed. Capital outflow and domestic inflation caused by interest rate hike. Bank of Korea starts raising interest rates. The loan interest rate increases accordingly. South Korea's central bank raises benchmark interest rate from 0.5% in August 2021. Revised up to 3.5% in January this year. And has remained until now. Increased by 3% in a year and a half. What about tenants? One-time delivery. The cost of a huge margin. Constantly improving. Compared with ordinary renting mode. Not worth it anymore. Choose the full rental model. Fewer and fewer tenants. South Korea's 2022 transactions. Property lease agreement. The number of ordinary rented houses. For the first time more than full rent. And for the landlord. Originally, because of real estate speculation. Burdened with high loans. If the tenant does not do full rent, landlord can't get more security deposit. Also needs to be refunded. Margin for other sets. Then the capital chain is broken. Sell or run. According to related reports. In this way. Bought 280 houses in the Seoul area. Ultimately due to too much leverage. The capital chain is broken. The landlord disappeared immediately after the thunderstorm. Huge deposits for hundreds of tenants. Vanish into nothingness. 2,073 cases in South Korea in 2022. Full rent security deposit embezzlement case. The amount involved reached more than 700 billion won. Landlords holding huge deposits. The capital chain is broken. Tenants who won't get their deposit back. But continue to bear high repayment interest. South Korean experts predict. This year's full rent deposit loss. Up to 1.8 trillion won. The momentum of the house price avalanche. Unstoppable until now. South Korea's real estate market is still plummeting. Not seeing any signs of improvement. The problem with the national housing market is that banks provide unlimited credit. Full rental housing loan for tenants. Provide unlimited funds for landlords to speculate in real estate. Single-handedly inflated the real estate market bubble. Coupled with the general optimism of Korean real estate. Think prices will keep going up. It's a get-rich-quick engine. Once this chain, any link starts to have problems, the whole system will crash. South Korean real estate market thunderstorm. Similar to Vietnam in many ways. But Vietnam's real estate market thunderstorm is at the financial level. Played a new trick. It can be said to be Vietnam's version of the subprime mortgage crisis. Vietnam now has more than 1,200 unfinished real estate projects. Nearly 40% of developers are on the verge of bankruptcy. 100,000 intermediary unemployment. What's more important is the price. Plummeted 37%, sales fell 75%. The myth of creating a GDP increase of 13.4% in the past. Annual GDP growth of 5% to 8%. Global manufacturers enter. Great development of the manufacturing industry. What's going on in Vietnam? Getting richer and richer. What really happened to Vietnam real estate? How could it collapse overnight? Vietnam's real estate market crashes. December 2021. There's a weird land auction going on. Ho Chi Minh City Department of Justice. Real Estate Auction Service Center. There are 4 blocks located in the city center. Land auctions in prime locations. The first day of the new district. Just between District 1 of Ho Chi Minh City. Across a river. The Vietnamese themselves say that this is Shanghai's Pudong New area. Positioning as financial city. The land here must be in high demand. But I didn't expect it to be so outrageous. The largest piece of land. The world's most expensive land king was auctioned. $100,000 per square meter. A company called Xinhuangming. After 70 rounds of bidding. Finally, use a price that is 8 times higher than the starting price. Took it down. Total price $1 billion. Why do you say it is the king of the land? The Hong Kong land king that was photographed in the same year. That's $40,000 per square meter. 1 month after the auction. When it's time to pay the bill. Unexpectedly, Xinhuangming regretted it. It is said that it is to stabilize the Vietnamese real estate market. Curb the phenomenon of real estate speculation. Decided to take the initiative to take social responsibility. Unilateral termination of the contract. And waive a deposit of about $30 million. Such a responsible company. It's barely round him. But someone dug a little deeper. Found something wrong. All the assets of Xinhuangming at that time were added together. That's $800 million. How could you have the courage to take a picture? Where's the $1 billion land? And at that time, the 3 companies under Xinhuangming are losing money. It's unreasonable to bid at such a high price at this point in time. Check carefully. Excited Xinhuangming really has this money. But the money doesn't come from the right way. By issuing debt. New Huaming's 3 companies. In September 2021. Between half a year in March 2022. 9 bond issues. Raised a total of $600 million in cash. Nobody else buys bonds. It's Xinhuangming himself. Some people say that they buy bonds with themselves, isn't it sick? Really not. The bond itself is valuable. Xinhuangming only needs to pack the bonds. Subdivided into financial derivative products. Or financial products. It can be retailed to ordinary investors. 12% interest per annum. At that time, the Vietnamese government did not allow enterprises issue bonds directly to the public. But didn't say no. Issue wealth management products. Bonds need to be repaid when they mature. But financial products are investments. Lose money at your own risk. In this way, enterprises use their left hand to turn their right hand. Coupled with financial means to take advantage of the loopholes. From ordinary Vietnamese. A large amount of cash was withdrawn. And don't have to pay back. This thunder burst out. New Huang boss and executives. Directly by the Ministry of Public Security of Vietnam. Arrest and prosecute. Charged with fraudulent embezzlement of private property. This large Vietnamese real estate company collapsed instantly. It's not enough if only one real estate company exploded. Remember when there were 4 parcels of land up for auction? In addition, there are 3 companies with higher. Get land at 4 to 7 times the starting price. Also can't come up with money to deliver the land. Same thunder. The way is exactly the same as Xinhuangming. Illegal issuance of bonds. And package financial products. Sold to ordinary investors. Several top developers in Vietnam had accidents at the same time. Let Vietnamese and international real estate speculators lose confidence. Marking Vietnam's real estate market came to an inflection point. And the next thing. It's just that the problem in the real estate market has exploded as a whole. Unlucky things happen one after another, resulting in developers being unable to continue building houses. More than 1,200 real estate projects are unfinished. The industry is depressed. Before the explosion. Annual foreign investment in Vietnam. Real estate investment up to $3.5 billion. Plus local Vietnamese. The proliferation of financial derivatives. Flood of funds created a high point in the housing market. But as the Fed raises interest rates and the dollar returns, Vietnam's economy is under fire. No financial support. Real estate developer builder. Real estate investor. I can't play anymore. Turned into a chain of death cycle. From March this year. In order to boost the property market in Vietnam, announced a rate cut of 100 basis points. Until June this year. Vietnam's central bank has cut interest rates 4 times in a row. Accumulated 250 basis points. So did the Vietnamese pull up real estate. On the contrary, not only did real estate fail to pull up, the industry also collapsed. Exports from Vietnam in the first quarter. 11% year-on-year shrinkage. Imports shrink 17%. GDP growth rate is only 3.3%. Less than 2022. Numerous examples have proven. Industry is the foundation of real estate. When exports decrease and foreign capital runs away. When all real economy no longer develop or even regress. You can use any measures to stimulate the property market. In the end, we can't escape the end of the bubble bursting. The situation in Vietnam. Not only because explosion of bank credit and financial derivatives. It is also because the economy is overly dependent on foreign capital. At the same time gave up the industry. Some similarities with domestic. Recently, domestic real estate companies have also been thundering. Larger scale, deeper. Could it be China's Lehman moment? Wealth accumulation can help you. Buying and selling long and short-term rent. There is also VIP Real Estate Investment Planning Membership Service. If you need Australian property investment preliminary opinion, please go to Wealth Accumulation. Use free basic consultation. In Wealth Accumulation channel, you will learn the best Australian real estate investment knowledge. Beginners are welcome to join Wealth Accumulation Basic members. Receive 5 big gift packages. Fans welcome to join Wealth Accumulation YouTube channel membership. Receive benefits. And join the exclusive exchange community. Experts are welcome to participate. 80 minutes live broadcast public class masterclass. Learn the most effective Australian property investment ideas. Buy a good house to achieve wealth goals. All registration links. All in the video description. If you don't see the video on YouTube, please private message us to get the registration link. Compared to South Korea and Vietnam, China property market. More serious problems. Now on the brink of collapse. China's economy is currently facing a tide of private enterprise bankruptcy. Withdrawal of foreign companies. Investment shrinks sharply. Import and export decline. Serious shortage of consumption. The debt chain thunderstorm. Mass unemployment. Government fiscal and tax bleeding. Investment export consumption. All 3 major economic engines are underpowered. Even turn off. The National Bureau of Statistics of China recently. Economic data released for July. Not weak. just far below expectations. Obvious deflationary characteristics. Second quarter. Foreign investment is only a mere $4.9 billion, 87% year-on-year decrease. Just announced July. The youth unemployment rate reached 21.3%. China Evergrande, Country Garden, two real estate giants. Indebted country. Evergrande just applied for Chapter 15 in the United States. Bankruptcy protection. And $19 billion in debt restructuring. Country Garden, one of China's largest real estate companies. Sudden financial chain break. Let Evergrande and the cloud of crisis once again looming over China's property market. In the first half of this year, Country Garden was still among the top real estate companies in China. Sales area first. The two US dollar debts have unexpected problems. The size of each bond is $500 million US. Interest payment is required every 6 months. Means payment is required on August 7th. $22.5 million in interest. But the creditor does not receive interest. Trillion-level real estate enterprises. They can't even pay the interest of 100 million renminbi. It seems that the problem has become serious. If such a big real estate company collapses suddenly, will affect market confidence, economic recovery and financial stability, residential house purchase expectations, and more than 60 upstream and downstream industry relations. Tens of millions of people are employed. Anyone who breaks the contract is a breach of trust. Can't hand over the building. Small business owners will protest against foreign debt repayment. Will be run on by creditors. Businesses are now like banks, caught in a run on tide. But many people expected. Country Garden real estate will be very difficult to sell. It would be even more terrifying if it evolved to that point. Country Garden has too many projects. I'm afraid there is no peer. No place city. Have the ability to take this big thunder. Fundamental issues in China's housing market. Apart from the political environment, it lies in the leverage ratio of residents. First of all, the residents. China's aging population. Now it's starting to show. I'm in RECAI said 035. Has been analyzed in detail. If you haven't seen it, you can take a look. China's aging population. The workforce gradually loses its edge. At the same time, the birth rate began to plummet. The population starts to grow negatively. One of the driving forces of China's economic development. The demographic dividend is gone. Coupled with rising unemployment in China. Economic downturn. Imports and exports plummeted. Young people have begun to choose to lie flat. No more consumption, no more children. China has gradually entered a low-desire society. So no matter how low the interest rate is, I don't want to. I went to buy a house with a loan. Because I have lost confidence in the house. So the leverage can no longer be increased. Once these top real estate companies fall, together with will appear. Confidence among home buyers plummets. Bad debts pile up in banks. A large number of unfinished houses appear. Real estate upstream and downstream enterprises collectively finished. I just know the consequences are going to be dire. Maybe we will enter the lost 30 years of Japanese style. Even back into North Korea's economic model. Our channel mainly talks about Australian property market. So many things have happened in China recently. Many people asked, what will this do for Australia? What kind of impact will the Australian property market will also crash. Will the Australian economy be dragged down by China? How the Australian economy and housing market will go. China, South Korea, Vietnam housing market crash, including the 1980s. Japanese housing market bubble. And the US subprime crisis in 2008. Economic and financial reasons. To sum it up, it's pretty much the same. The first is the excessive financialization of real estate. Banks help increase leverage. People borrow money. Can afford a more expensive house. Developers get richer. Get more expensive land. The government can earn more money from land sales. Receive more tax. So the government also has the incentive to give the green light to credit. Financial derivatives other than credit can indirectly generate funds. Flood into the real estate market. If you encounter an ultra-low interest rate environment again, the asset bubble in the real estate market will blow up soon. The second is the general optimism of the people. Think house prices will keep going up. Like the past 20 years. China, Vietnam, and South Korea. Japan in the 1970s and 1980s. Same as America, from 2000 to 2007. People believe that house prices will go up forever. Will lose judgment. Even with the ability to think objectively. Watch house prices soaring day by day. Self-earned wages. When you can't make it. It is also possible to enter the market blindly. Those who enter the housing market early earn. Late entry is locked up. If the housing market keeps going up, credit has been increasing. People's confidence is always on the line. This game can go on forever. But once there is a problem in one of the links, this wealth creation myth will be shattered. Let's compare the situation in Australia. Australia's financial industry. Extremely underdeveloped. No real estate financial derivatives. Only a few commercial properties. ETF can buy privately placed bonds of private investment companies. And buying financial products. Strict government regulation. To be honest, I think the regulation is a bit too much. This closes the financial loophole. In terms of credit, there is a dedicated government agency, APRA. Control the amount of commercial bank lending. If the mortgage risk increases, the policy will follow up immediately. Reduced risk or shrinking housing market will gradually liberalize credit and make adjustments. Meanwhile, the central bank grapples with economic problems. Rate hike or cut. Smaller and more conservative than other countries. There has never been a rate hike like the US. Add 75 basis points at a time. Vietnam cuts interest rate by 100 basis points once. Such a drastic policy change. The market responded adequately. And adjust the time. And in terms of population. Among the world's developed countries, Australia tops the list for population growth. Immigration alone. Bring it to Australia. 400,000 new population per year. So much so that Australia's current problem is building speed. Unable to keep up with population growth. I am in the real estate industry in Australia. Worked for 15 years. What about professional reasons? Studied Australia from the end of World War II. Current real estate market changes. Discover the Australian property market. Follow an underlying law. Short-term ups and downs. Has been rising for a long time. So other countries. Conditions for a housing market crash. Australia does not have. Australia has its own cultural and economic characteristics. except in immigration policy, loan policy, financial regulatory policy, and consumer confidence. Among these 4 aspects, there is a radical change. Australia's real estate crash. Unlikely. Australia's largest export commodity. Its iron ore. 70% are sold to China. Downturn in China's real estate sector. Against the background of economic downturn. Major iron ore producing areas. Western Australia property market may face a test. It has little to do with other cities. What about India? Has replaced China. Become an Australian overseas student. Largest country of origin. So the Chinese economy is slowing down. Impact on the Australian economy as a whole. Definitely negative. But it will not let the Australian economy into recession. Not significantly affect overall house prices in Australia. If you care about the Australian property market, latest trends, welcome to the Wealth Accumulation channel. If you see here, please help me like and subscribe. Forward to your friends. Wealth accumulation helps you invest in real estate. Win over Australia. This is Wealth Accumulation channel. See you next video. Bye bye.